Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of the DanLately Podcast. I'm very excited today to be joined by someone I've been inspired by recently and been wanting to interview for a while. She's a YouTuber, presenter, a freelance travel writer / blogger from London. She studied at university. She created a channel on January the 7th, 2011 and she has over 46,000 subscribers. She has over 327 videos, which in total have garnered over a whopping 5 million views. She presented a show recently called A Very British History, which was shown earlier this year in February on BBC4, exploring the history of the Chinese community in the UK. She's travelled to countries all over the world, including Japan, China, Canada, Greece, America. She's bilingual, she has over 8,000 followers on Instagram, and she recently just turned 28. So without further ado, please welcome the lovely Shu Lin.
Hello! Oh my goodness, what a welcome. What an introduction.
I like to make my guests feel welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How's life been? I know you've been very busy recently. You know, you're moving house and you've just recently turned 28. How's that all been going for you?
Yeah, it's been a very good month. I mean, with lockdown and everything, it's been up and down over the past year, I guess, over the past 6-7 months. But things are slowly picking up and there's a lot more exciting things on the horizon. So just trying to focus on that moving forward.
Yeah, it's been such a wild year. How have you dealt with it? Because I know a lot of people were not prepared in March for this lockdown, and I think it's just completely turned the year on its head. Like, how have you been dealing with it mentally, and have you been keeping in touch with family and stuff?
Yeah, it's been like a challenge for sure, like especially mentally. I think right at the start, I think a lot of people as well felt so anxious.
Yeah.
And just really didn't know what to expect. And, everything as we knew it just suddenly completely changed. But I think as the months have gone on, like I've really tried to enjoy more like the little things in life, have so much more appreciation for the things that, we previously maybe weren't grateful for. Yeah. And like it's been nice to actually have a slower pace of life as well in terms of not traveling full time and actually just appreciating like the everyday little things.
Yeah, because I think during lockdown I've like gone for a lot more walks and things, and you just appreciate nature more as well, and
yeah,
you
exactly.
just really feel like grounded more, and it's just it definitely reminds you that life's so precious. So I think it's probably, as hard as it's probably been also kind of needed as well for all of us, just to kind of reflect on things.
For sure. It's like such a reminder, isn't it, of what's actually like important, who's important, and like even with things like not being able to hug your friends or your family, like having that, you're like, oh, I kind of wish I made most of that, like just seeing friends and family more. But it's been so nice even to like be able to catch up and text and call and FaceTime. So yeah, for sure, like it's just made me so grateful for the
technology.
people. Yeah, like imagine if this happened like 50-60 years ago, like it would have been completely different experience.
I know, it's wild. But on brighter news, how's your birthday been? You've recently celebrated your birthday. I saw you ate some Greek food.
Yes, it was amazing. Thank you. It was very different to my previous birthdays because normally I like to have like a big get together with all of my friends. But this year it was a lot more quiet, but it was still so lovely. And I felt very, very loved. Like everyone was still, sending messages and little like video messages and things. So it was really nice. Like, 28, new chapter.
Yeah. Have you learned anything becoming 28? Like, is there anything you feel like you've learned, or?
I feel like I am a lot more like confident within myself now and a lot more like self-assured and learning to like not doubt myself as much, like before, like a few years ago, every single thing I'll just be like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like, is this the right thing to do? And whereas now I kind of have more of a firmer voice in my head, just being like, yeah, like this is the right thing to do. Like, just try it. Like, the worst that can happen is that it won't work out and you'll learn from it. And just having the confidence to actually like take a risk, like even with the move, like it happened so quickly. It wasn't really part of the plan. And it just within a few weeks just kind of happened in a very quick turnaround. And is actually like very, very exciting instead of being like nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I think that's what I find so inspiring about you as well, is that you're not afraid to take risks. And I kind of want to get into that more later as well, of how you got into like freelance traveling and things, because I know for some people it can be quite a risky thing, like leaving your job and go into it full time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, you've traveled to a lot of countries. But when you're like not traveling like recently, I've seen on your Instagram stories that you like to watch a lot of Netflix and things like that. What's your favorite show at the minute? Because I've been seeing a lot about this.
Yeah, so I've been watching a lot more like Korean drama. So I just finished one called It's Okay to Not Be Okay, which is so good. I don't know. Do you watch Korean dramas?
No, I need to get into them. They look really good.
Yeah, like if you're into like dramatic shows with like very unrealistic storylines, but like very, very good like binge watchers, they're really, really good. The music's great, the acting is amazing, styling's good, it's very like addictive to watch. So I watched that, and it's kind of like one of the first Korean dramas I've watched that actually discusses mental health in more
Oh
capacity.
wow.
Like whereas a lot of, yeah, like Asian dramas, they don't typically talk about it as much or to as much detail, kind of, that's showing the spectrum of how mental health like affects everyone differently and everyone deals with it differently. So for me, it was like such an encouraging thing to see, and hopefully something that will be introduced in more shows and later on. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I've also just finished watching Selling Sunset.
Oh,
Have you
tell
seen
me
it? It's
more.
it's basically like a whole team of people. It's like a reality TV show in LA, and they just follow these like luxury real estate agents as they're selling properties around
Okay.
LA. But it's basically kind of like the hills mixed with the Kardashians. Like there's a lot of drama, a lot of people fighting, but then they also show these beautiful houses. So it's kind of like a guilty pleasure watch.
Yeah, I definitely love them shows like Real Housewives and stuff. You can't beat it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like nice to look at what like a $40 million house would look like. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. That's so much space.
Yeah, I think shows like that are definitely needed right now, especially the one talking about mental health. So it's really good that things like that exist at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot more people, I think it's as well, like the more people that, talk about it and share the experience, even though it's very, very scary to be vulnerable to share about those things, but it does hopefully like help other people to think, oh, this isn't, I'm not completely alone in feeling how I do. And actually so many people can relate to this. And it's all about kind of like being there for each other and holding space for each other to kind of have a safe space to talk about these things. So it's
Yeah,
nice, yeah, when mainstream media are kind of doing a lot more about it.
yeah, it's lovely. So for those people who don't know you, can you just tell a little bit more about yourself, like where you're from and stuff?
Yeah, so I'm British born Chinese. I was born in London, but then I grew up in the south coast of England. And I kind of always have grown up with food. My parents owned a Chinese takeaway and restaurants growing up. And I was working there from, when I was a teenager up until university. And it wasn't until I think I moved out from college to university, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, which actually focused on fashion and styling because I was
Okay.
looking to be a fashion journalist. So for me, I was studying drama at college, and I was like, oh, I need to have more confidence in front of the camera. And also, this is something I want to get into more, like just kind of being comfortable in front of a camera and presenting and things like that. So I kind of just created a YouTube channel for fun. Didn't really think anybody would watch it.
Yeah.
And then throughout university, I started documenting my travels because I didn't really have the opportunity to travel when I was younger, and then saved up more money during uni through work to be like, oh, I'm going to film these travel videos to look back on when I'm older, because it was just such a treat to be able to see another place. So started
Yeah.
filming that. And then the audience at the time were like, oh, yeah, we'd love to see more travel. So then that kind of became a very natural thing that I integrated within my content, I guess. Like I didn't really have a plan. I just kind of filmed whatever I wanted throughout
Yeah.
university. Yeah. And just didn't really think, back then it wasn't even like an option to have a career as a vlogger. So yeah, and then went into work. I was kind of giving you my life story now.
Oh no, I love it.
And then I went into work, which was straight after university, which was in an ad tech company. So it was kind of very related to what I was already doing. It was all about kind of talking, advising brands and like global agencies about video strategies and advertising. So kind of went well with YouTube because it meant I could learn the business side.
Yeah.
But then after that, I kind of wanted to learn more the creative side. So then I left that job, and that was when I like first time I took a risk and applied for something completely different when I was a content producer for a karaoke brand in
Oh
London.
wow.
yeah, so went from like sales and like media and like kind of like the business side of it to actually looking after a brand's like social media accounts. I kind of produced all of their photos and videos, wrote for their 3 blogs, like all of their websites and like marketing collateral. But just before I started the job, I actually applied for a 1 week like competition at YouTube in
Okay.
London. And they basically were looking to like host 9 to 10 creators for a week in YouTube. They'll give you like a £2,000 voucher for equipment and have a whole week of like production classes, teaching
Wow.
how to do YouTube better. You had like a manager at YouTube to kind of help you along.
Oh my gosh, a
And
manager.
it was amazing. Like back then I was like, oh, I would love that. And I'd like scroll through and refresh my emails every single day after I applied. And they were actually, I think, like 2 days late in announcing who won. So I kind of thought, oh, I didn't get it because I didn't get an email. But yeah, I was one of the winners, which was, you know, the highlight and the start of everything that was to happen after that.
That's
Because
amazing.
yeah, it was so good. Like we got to stay at a hotel nearby, and it just felt like we were going back to school. And the whole week we just had different seminars, and we had like production lessons. We got to learn how to like do business in terms of like with YouTube. And that was when my manager at the time was like, oh, you should really consider doing this as an actual career, and actually something to focus on. And I was like, no, don't be silly. Like, I don't think I've got, you know, I don't think it's possible. And she was like, yeah, like you should try and focus on like more of a niche. Like, why don't you do travel and food instead of doing like a bit of everything and actually have more of a plan?
Yeah.
So that was what kind of kickstarted me to think about it more seriously. And then that launched, you know, me doing YouTube professionally, because a year later I then went freelance and focused on it full time.
That
So
is so
it's
interesting
been a
to hear.
journey. Yeah.
Yeah, it really shows like how far you've come, and like I can definitely see like the experience like from what you've told me. Like I can see it in your work, like all the things you've learned, all the skills and stuff. It's
Oh, thank
yeah, it's
you.
really beautiful. It has like kind of snowballed onto other things as well. Like you got into TV as well, and I think people have a misconception, don't they, about YouTube and oh, you can't do much from it and stuff. But it's such an amazing platform, and I think you're definitely like living proof of it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I think it's so exciting, like to be able to show all of these transferable skills that you learn from doing YouTube. Like it's one like a hobby, but along the way you get to learn about what video editing and SEO and like how to design a thumbnail, which require design skills and all of those things. And I think it's just one like great hobby to have anyway. But the bonus is that you get to learn so much along the way.
Yeah. So what was life like growing up for you? Because I'm kind of interested to know more about that as well. Like, what subjects did you do at school and university, etc.?
So for GCSE, I did like like graphics,
Okay.
drama. Like it's all very like arty subjects, like art. For A
Yeah.
level, I think I did like photography, fine art, English language. Like it's always within that field, and
Yeah.
business and sociology. And I've always been like interested in social arts and that kind of stuff. And I'm not very like logically minded in terms of like sciences. I'm not
Oh
very good at.
yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm not
I
good for maths
yeah.
or science.
Yeah, like when people are like, you know, getting A's in physics, I'm like, oh, that must be so nice. Yeah, I've always been into like photography and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it seemed like very, very natural to lead into that, even though I guess like for a lot of Asian families, like that's kind of like a complete no go. You know, you're meant to be focusing on like like going to finance and business and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yes. It must have been lovely just to like do things you're interested in. How was school life for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you like were you popular? Did you get bullied or?
No, I really actually loved school growing up. Like I was very lucky to have like a great group of friends, and I think I've always had a lot of different social friendship groups.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like everyone was super nice. I didn't really get bullied. Like I obviously being like one of the only Chinese families, sometimes if people don't know me, they'll like say things and like throw away comments and stuff, but never to the extent of where I actually felt like, oh, I'm being bullied. It's kind of
Yeah.
one of those things you just kind of like, oh, like grow up, like, you know, it's not well. But yeah, like I really enjoyed school. I was such like a goody two shoes. So yeah,
Uh,
I was always like staying behind for like book club and drama club and everything. And yeah, it was just a great time. Like I really, really loved it.
Do you have any advice for anyone who is getting bullied currently in school?
I would say to have like your close group of friends, or to be able to speak out about it and to
Yeah,
speak to friends around you, and to not take it super personally, because
yeah,
a lot of the time I think, the quote like hurt people hurt people. And I know it's so much easier said than done, because a lot of people at the time, it's just if you already feel bad about yourself and then someone's adding wound, like an extra wound to the pain, it's hard to think, oh, it's not me. But it is true, like if people don't feel good about themselves, or maybe they have things going on at home, I think a lot more people may be inclined to like lash out or to take it out on other people, just to kind of deflect from how much pain they're feeling inside.
yeah,
And it's kind of like it's hard, but to have to turn and focus, like even though this is an awful thing to do to somebody else, and it's not something anybody would want to do to somebody else, to maliciously act out, it may come from a place of hurt from that other person. And yeah, I think to not bottle it up inside, and it's important to also speak to someone that you trust, whether that's a teacher or a friend or a family member or a sibling, to kind of just talk about what's going on. And if it is bad, to not also be afraid to escalate things further, and to speak to someone in a position of power to be able to do something about it.
yeah. I think that's what's so important about just like having an outlet as well, and like creativity and stuff, because I think a lot of YouTubers, they don't realize they're doing it, but like you, for example, you're just so positive and uplifting, and I don't know if you realize you are sometimes, but it really helps people on the other side of the screen who might be going through a lot in real life, and it just really helps to see someone on screen like, just living their truth and being positive, uplifting. It really is inspiring. So thank you for being such a ray of sunshine.
Oh, Dan, thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much for saying that. Yeah,
No
no,
problem.
hopefully, yeah, it's so lovely to hear that. And that's kind of like what I would love, like that feeling as if you're just kind of like catching up with a friend. And it's just sometimes nice, isn't it, to have a little bit of escapism, like if you're having a
Yeah.
bad day, just to see someone else just kind of like, oh, like it makes me feel better. Like when I watch people that I'm like, oh, that makes me feel so much better about my day, or makes me more motivated to do something, because I've just watched someone like clean the whole house for like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, I feel so much better about things. And like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's so nice to have that little bit of escapism online.
I think
So
that's
thank
what's
you.
beautiful about YouTube. People inspire their audience without realizing, and they almost feel like they know them, even though they're not like super close with them. So I think that's really cool. Um, but yeah, you mentioned you studied at university. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was good. I think like I didn't really like have the full university experience back then. Like I think I wasn't really enjoying it. I think back then I wasn't really into like going out and being super social. Like I was in a long-term relationship back then. So
Yeah,
I kind of like almost am doing things backwards. So for me, I was so focused on just kind of getting loads of internships in and using my free time on YouTube. And so I didn't really fully appreciate what there is to do and to kind of like have life as in my early 20s.
yeah,
But for the most part, like it was a good experience, and it gave me like 3 years to figure out what it is I wanted to do, 3 years to focus on, creating like a starting a career, and things. So I'm like grateful for the experience and the opportunity to like just live outside of, family home. um yeah, like it was a good experience, but I almost wish I did kind of enjoy it a bit more and just kind of like let loose a little bit more.
yeah. I feel like that with school a bit as well. Wish I'd enjoyed it more. But I'm going to university this year, so I was kind of curious as well to
Ah,
see what it's
yeah.
like and stuff. And um, I kind of feel the same as you as well. I'm just kind of going to figure out, where it is I want to go and stuff. I've got ideas of what I want to do, but it's just like kind of a backup plan, just in case things don't take off on the internet or whatever. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
really lovely to hear and stuff that, it is an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Um, so were you posting videos during university on YouTube? Like, what would you say the biggest one, like, when did you start to see that you were like, oh, okay, this is something I could do full time? Like, when did you start getting like loads of views and stuff?
So for me, I've always thought like if I I'd only ever go full time if it conflicted with my day-to-day like full-time job.
Yeah.
And obviously because I started specializing in doing more like travel content, so that was kind of like an inevitable, like if it comes to a place where suddenly I have a lot of travel trips coming up and that's actually like affecting my time during my full-time job, and that's when I have a conversation with my manager at the time to kind of like discuss, opportunities and like where we should go. So it was around like February 2018, and that's when I suddenly had like 3-4 jobs come in, and that would have meant me having to take quite a lot of time away
Yeah.
from work. And previously, before that, I had won like a casting call, like a competition with TUI, the travel agency, on like a 4 or 5 months trip around the world, and I was
Oh,
like a
wow.
presenter and filmed and edited for them whilst we were on the road with 4 other people. And I took a sabbatical then, but then afterwards that kind of kick-started travel for me. And then
Yeah.
a lot more travel brands are like, oh, I just saw these videos that you've created over the past like 4 or 5 months. Here's another, like, would you be interested to do this job? And then it kind of like, it was a very natural progression. And then that's when I was like, oh, actually, maybe this would be something I could focus on in a full-time capacity. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
around like 2 years ago that I started doing things on and off, and then fully went full-time in October 2018. So it's coming up to 2 years now.
Oh, wow. How did you feel going full time? Did you feel like liberated? Did you feel a bit scared, or did you think, oh, I'm so happy, like I can do this?
Yeah, it was like a dream come true. Like, it's so exciting, and it's still something I'm like pinching myself over, but it is very nerve-wracking because it's kind
Yeah.
of going from something that's so stable, having like a full-time job and knowing exactly how much money is going to be coming in every month and knowing exactly what I'm meant to be doing, to suddenly being like, I'm really taking like a big risk here. Like, if it doesn't work out, like it won't work out. But with things like that, like I think I've taken quite a few like risks with work over the past few years, but I always like to like give myself 6 months at a time with everything, because
Yeah.
yeah, it's like such a good amount of time to like really take a risk on yourself to try something new, but at the same time it's a short enough time that you don't completely like cripple yourself financially if things don't work out. And I had enough savings to tide me over should things not work out, as well. So yeah, it was something I'd like kind of like slowly plan for and just kept trying to save money towards.
Yeah.
And luckily I'm still staying afloat at the moment.
That's
But yeah, I
really
would say
good.
always
Yeah.
like, yeah, and it's also important, I would say, like especially if like if you're starting university and kind of want to figure out what you want to do, is to not put too much pressure on yourself to have things figured out,
Yeah.
because all of these things have happened over the past few years like I never really planned for explicitly, and it's kind of quite exciting, like nerve-wracking, but it's exciting when
Exciting. Yeah.
yeah, you don't know what's going to happen, but then you'll do something and then that will lead to something else that you might not have thought that would have been a possible thing like a few months ago. So even if things don't go to plan, it's so hard. It's kind of like framing and shifting a mindset to think like, oh, but that could open so many more doors, and I could be exposed to something even better that I don't even know I'm like capable of doing.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have like a rough plan, but not completely like I must do this, this, and this, and this by this time.
Yeah, completely. And it's really interesting to hear as well, how he said it was like mainly brands and stuff that were reaching out to you rather than like, because I think people think, oh, I've got to get a lot of views on this video to be noticed, but it might not always work like that. It might be that a brand just happens to see it and then they message you and vice versa. So yeah, it's very cool
Yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah, and I think it's like it's so nice when you're just there like creating what you love, and you're creating something that you really believe in yourself, and I think that speaks for itself. And
Yeah.
like in terms of things like business and brands reaching out, like if you truly believe in your product and what you're creating, like that stuff will just come so naturally.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah,
100%.
yeah, so it's like and it's such a nice thing when you see someone like love what they do, and that really does shine across on the screen. So I would say like, yeah, to keep trusting in yourself and to keep creating what you're good at creating, and be open to things along the way.
Yeah. What would you say your favorite video is that you've uploaded? I think I discovered you by your Lake District vlog. It was like one night I was just flicking through YouTube with my partner, and I was like, "Oh, should we watch some travel vlogs?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Where do you fancy watching?" And we were thinking of going to the Lake District, so I was like, "Okay, let me just type in Lake District travel vlog," and then your video popped up, and I was like, "Ooh, what's this?" And then within a few seconds in, I was just completely in awe, like with how you edited it, the music,
Oh,
just the camera work, just everything about it, and then your personality as well. And I was just like, okay, I'm subscribed now. I'm hooked. Um, what would you say your favorite video is that you've posted? Like one that you're most proud of?
quite a few. Like I loved my vlog in the Sahara in Morocco because it was just such like an incredible experience, like one of the best experiences I've ever had. Like
Yeah,
to be able to be there and to capture it. I also really love my Dominica video, which I went to earlier this year, because again, it was just such a new experience for me, and it was just such a beautiful island. And I think for me, I always love the people that I travel with or meet along the way. And when
yeah,
that shows across on the screen, like kind of you like having conversation with people and just having a great time, like I just think it's just such an amazing energy to have. So I'd say like those two, or my Japan videos that I
oh
filmed with my best
yes,
friend.
I loved
Yeah.
your Tokyo one. Yes, it was so
Yeah,
good.
that was so fun because it was just us messing around, and it was less me doing it for like work, but more like me just capturing me and my best friend having a great time in Japan. So I
Yeah,
watched that quite a lot because I'm just like, oh, I just miss her so much. So
that's what's
yeah,
so beautiful. Yeah, it's
those
literally just
ones.
you having an amazing time in all of them. I think that's why they're just so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, oh,
Um,
thank you. I'm really glad you watched like the Lake District video and that's how you found the channel. Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's so
really
weird as well.
glad.
It's so random as well. Like it just shows that anyone can literally discover you at any time. Like even if it's a video you uploaded years and years ago, like someone can just think, "Oh, I want to watch this," and then they type it in, and then
Yeah.
it pops up. It's like it's so cool.
Yeah. Is it something you're like looking to do as well, like incorporating more like travel vlogs and
Oh, I
things?
would definitely love that. I think I'm trying to like keep somewhat of a realistic mindset, but I just went to Wales recently and I did a travel vlog on that, and um,
Oh,
oh, it was just even though it didn't get like lots of views, like just to record it for me and my partner and just savor the experience, like you were saying, it's just so wonderful and it's
yeah.
really fun to edit it as well, even if it's just like you and your partner that watch it. Like it's just so fun to see it all played back and it's just such an adventure. It really is.
Yeah, it's so nice, isn't it? Like it's so nostalgic and it kind of like immediately transports you back into that specific place and that memory, and like you suddenly remember like, oh yeah, I remember what I ate and I remember how beautiful that was and how happy I felt at that time. So it's so nice to have like a whole video to capture that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what's your favorite country you've been to? I think I asked you what your favorite video was, but what's your favorite country, would you say?
Oh, it's so hard. I mean, like I'm biased, but I always will love Hong Kong, Japan as well. But then it's like everyone says that.
I'd love to go
Um,
there.
I really loved like the Caribbean. I feel like it's just such a beautiful way of
Yeah.
life, and I mean it's gorgeous as well. Like so beautiful with all the beaches and the lifestyle, but it's just like the people and the energy. Like they're just so warm, and it's just like there and you kind of like everything is so much slower. Like they're always like, oh, it's there's like London time, there's Caribbean time, and everyone's just enjoying like their life, and like
Yeah.
it's just such an amazing energy to be a part of. So anytime I get to visit the Caribbean, I'm like, yes, because it's just amazing, amazing energy. And like obviously I love the rum, so I just love like a dance party and rum and dancing on around the
Yeah.
island. So
I think that's so important, like what you said, like, the people and the energy and the culture. I think that definitely makes a country more enjoyable as well. And
yeah,
what
for
what I
sure.
love as well is when you go somewhere like you said, and it just seems like a completely different way of life. Like they're not looking at the phone all the time. They're just like enjoying, like meditating and just really enjoying life. And I think that's what I want more of as well. Just, as much as I love social media, it's also nice just to appreciate the world around you as well. I think that's what I'm looking most forward to as well when I travel, is just seeing all the beautiful sights of the world. And
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But even on our own doorstep, like there's so much to do around like
oh,
England,
100%.
like
Yeah,
it's so exciting. Like I've not really like played tourist before and I've never been to Wales before, so I'd love to watch
yeah.
your travel vlog.
Oh,
But it's
it's
just
really
like
good.
yeah, it's so much like nature as well. Like it's just so nice to, like you said, like to switch off from social media and have a bit of like a detox, and actually just be like, I'm just gonna go for a hike. Like I'm gonna go and look at these sprawling hills and Lake District and stuff. And it's just so good for the mind, just to like go outside and like breathe fresh air and move your legs around.
Yeah, I think that's what's been good with the pandemic as well, is that it's sort of give us a chance to explore our own country a bit more as well. Because I think people are so quick to jump on a plane and go to this place, but like you said,
Yeah.
there's so much beauty in our country. And I went to Snowdonia in Wales, and the views are just absolutely
Oh
stunning.
wow. Yeah, I've
Um,
never been.
yeah, it's so lovely. I actually saw it on
Yeah.
the Jane McDonald program, and that's kind of what inspired me and my partner to go there.
Oh
Um,
wow.
I think the pandemic kind of makes you feel guilty as well. It's like, should I go? Should I not go? Like,
Mm,
because you want to be safe and everything, but we just thought we need this. Like, we just need some detox time, and it was just 100% worth it. So,
yeah.
yeah, with the reason, I think you can definitely enjoy places around the UK at the moment. Um, but yeah, it's just lovely to see, the journey you've been on and stuff.
Thank
Um,
you.
what would you say your goals and dreams are like for the next year? Like, have you got any plans for 2021? Like, what's your vision for like the future, next few months?
So my ultimate dream has always been to like have my own like food and travel TV show and to actually focus more on the presenting side. So I'm kind of like hoping I'm gonna like plan towards that and to kind of keep creating that kind of episodic content myself to hopefully do a little bit more into that realm of things. And it's been such an amazing like introduction into the world of TV and presenting this year, and it's kind of like made me think like this is what I meant to do and this is what I want to do and I want to focus
Yeah,
on.
I was just going to talk about that actually. Obviously, because I discovered you later on, I didn't actually get to watch the show, but because the episode isn't available on BBC iPlayer anymore, I was like, damn it. But
Yeah, so
um,
annoying. I'm like, please re-air it.
yeah, it looks so incredible though. Like, can you just tell me a bit more about that? Like, what was that experience like? How did you get approached to do it, and what was it like?
Yeah, amazing. So they approached via email like in April last year, and they
Okay.
basically watched one of my videos on YouTube, which is again like you just don't know who's
Oh
watching.
wow. Yeah.
So I filmed a video about I don't know, like 3 years ago about my struggles being British born Chinese because I'd been inspired by one of my favorite creators called Whaley, and she spoke about being like Asian American,
Did you just say
American born
Whaley?
Chinese. Whaley, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love Willie so much.
She's so
She's one
good,
of
isn't she?
literally, I'm not even kidding. She's one of the first YouTubers I ever watched.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love her. Like, I love her,
Oh,
her
we're gonna have
friendship
to
group.
conversate.
Like,
We're gonna have to
y-
conversate about that another time. But
yeah.
yeah, I
Oh
love
my
Willie
gosh.
so much.
Oh, that's good because I literally love their vlogs. I love
I
like
was like, did you just
Sophia,
say
Jan,
Willie?
all of them. Yeah, yeah. So I was like
Yeah.
hugely inspired by her because she made me feel like inspired and comfortable to talk about my own struggles being British born Chinese. And I didn't really see anyone make a video about that at the time. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, it's quite nerve wracking because I've never really spoken about my heritage before and all of these things, but created that video, and that kind of opened up a lot more like conversations within the community over the years. And the team at the BBC saw it, so reached out to meet up and have a chat about a show they were doing, and then it kind of we just hit it off, and they were so lovely, like so supportive right from the start, and they were just very interested in shining light into the community and to kind of like talk more about the struggles but also the exciting things there is, and like to show more representation on the screens. So we met up once and then kept in touch, and a few weeks later we met up again and did like a screen test via a phone just to show the exec producer, and then they offered me to be able to be the presenter for that episode, which I
Oh,
think at
that
the
is
start was meant to be
amazing.
like, yeah, I think at the start was meant to be like a I don't know, part of the interview or a cameo or something. So I was just kind of completely floored, and also like so thankful that they even like trusted in me because I didn't really have any actual like TV presenting experience
Yeah.
before, to take a chance on someone that's so new. And throughout the whole process, like I just can't thank them enough. Like it was just such a special experience um, to me, and everyone was just every step of the way just made sure like it was just seamlessly done, like they were like researched into things, and like they kind of taught me so much along the way. And it really just kind of like showed me what it was like in the world of TV, and it was just great. Like it was just I just really miss like having that small team of people that you work with
Oh,
on a close basis, and to
yeah.
all like work towards the same thing. And I'm just, yeah, really, really grateful to them and kind of the opportunity. So yeah, it all started from a YouTube video.
It's just so beautiful. It really is. But yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that you do get your own travel show because you absolutely deserve one, and I don't see any
Oh,
reason why you can't have one. So fingers crossed to that one.
oh, thank you. Yeah, when
Um,
it happens, we'll be like, whoa, remember our podcast
yeah.
years ago?
Um, but what you were mentioning about like Chinese culture and stuff. I kind of wanted to touch on like a lot of misconceptions people have and stuff. Like I think I saw it on your Insta stories a couple of weeks ago that you mentioned about people having a misconception about relating the coronavirus to like
Mm, mm-hmm.
yeah, it's awful into and like the Black Lives Matter movement as well. Like I just wanted to hear some of your thoughts on like these issues and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these issues have been happening for years and years and years, and has always been a part of like the social fabric, of what's been happening beneath the surface. But it's good
Yeah,
to know that like a lot more people are speaking about their experiences, and a lot more people are open to learning more, and actually to be a lot more like active about it. And the Black Lives Matter movement is so, so, so important.
yeah,
And it's beyond like something that just happened in June. Like it's something that we should all be actively um doing and unlearning things and things. And I've been trying to unpick different things that I've learned on the way, and actually to shine a light on how little I actually knew about it,
yeah.
in terms of like things that I kind of like thought in a like it's a horrible feeling when you're like, oh, I just didn't realize that how much I didn't know, and
I know.
how much we
To
didn't
be
get
honest, that's the
taught.
media's fault as well for not covering it enough. That's kind of why a lot of people don't know these things, is because the media aren't covered it enough. So in a way, they're kind of to blame as well for not shining enough light on it. But like you say, at least we're learning more now, and all we can do is just constantly educate ourselves and
Yeah,
read up on things. And I've tried donating. I can't donate a lot of money because I'm not super rich, but I've just tried donating when I can, and just reading. And I think that's all you can ask really, is just just constantly be educated and
yeah,
um, keep speaking about it. But yeah, we
yeah.
can't forget about that. And
And to, like, actively like do things every single day, whether that is like you said, like just being more involved with kind of like the resources, like
yeah,
online and offline, like listening, and actually like holding space for other people to share their experiences, and knowing when it's not like your turn to speak, and actually to let someone else and have that the same opportunity, or to actually step back and be like, do you know what, like I don't need this, but actually somebody else would benefit from this opportunity and things as well. And actually just kind of being a lot more supportive of the community around you and stuff, and just
yeah,
being aware of what's happening. I think it's so much to unpack and to unlearn and to relearn. But it is heartbreaking, but it's also not like a surprising thing. Like it's been happening for so long. And
yeah,
yeah, and like even with things like, there's so much in terms of like even like Asian representation, like there's a lot of like there's not a lot of it at all in the media, and it's been represented really quite badly in the media over the pandemic and things as well. And it's just, yeah, it is heartbreaking, but it's also encouraging, because it also opens up so many conversations with those in the community and those outside of the communities who actively want to learn more and to do more and things as well. And there's a friend of mine called Viv, and she started a petition. um, and it came from when she saw a lot of Asian faces being used in news articles to represent like the coronavirus, which obviously just
oh no,
increases the likelihood of people associating a whole like ethnic group with this virus when that's not the case. And she, off the back of that, started a petition, and it's gone way over 10,000 signatures. They're taking it to Parliament.
that's
She's like,
incredible.
yeah, incredible. And like her and 5 other ladies have now started a new network for, I think it's called like Be Seen, and it's all for British East Asians and Southeast Asians, and all about like representation. And just kind of, they've worked tirelessly over this campaign, and it's just so encouraging to see, to like and it's so motivating and inspiring as well. And yeah, and it's like there's a lot going on at the moment,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
been such
just
a tough year, just like for
yeah,
everything. It really has.
yeah,
But I think the only thing we can do is just keep learning, keep growing, and just most importantly, try and keep positive as well, and just try and spread that to the world as well, because
yeah,
it's so needed right now. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, moving on to a more lighter topic, it's quite random actually, but I know you're obsessed with air fryers.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I just wanted to know more about that because I actually can't cook, so I just wanted to know, have you got any advice for anyone who can't cook or is like scared of using them?
Yeah, I would say that an air fryer is perfect then. It's basically like a mini oven, mini like convection oven. So they've got a little dial that you can adjust. I've baked a cheesecake in it before. I've made
Oh
chicken wings.
wow.
Yeah, like you can do so much with it. And it's portable. So you can if you don't have an oven at home, like my studio, I don't think I've got an oven. So I'm going to bring my air fryer with me, obviously. But like, it's just so easy because you don't need a lot of time. Like it kind of speeds up the cooking process because it's so compact, with how it circulates the hot air. You just basically I can put in, yesterday I was roasting a chicken. Like I just posted a chicken, marinated it for a few hours, cooked it for 40 minutes, and it was done. Like it was
Oh,
so easy, and all I had to do, I went and wash my hair, go out and read a book, and then you come back and it's done. Like it's just
that sounds so good.
so easy, but it's also so healthy. You don't need to use as much oil. It's just the perfect appliance. Like, I'm
Yeah, I
obsessed.
definitely need to get one. It just sounds so good.
Yeah, it's just so good. Like you can make your own fries in it as well. Like you
Oh
just
wow.
yeah, like you just slice up some potatoes, season it with some salt, pepper, olive oil, put it in the air fryer for 40 minutes and it's done. Like don't have to have a deep fat fryer or anything. Like it's honestly magical.
I saw your video as well, where you ate out for the first time in Chinatown, and
Yes.
oh, that looked amazing as well, like the food and stuff. What would you say the first things are that you want to do after the pandemic's over? Like, obviously, you've eaten out. Like, what other things are you hoping to do once this is all calmed
I
down?
Yeah, I would love to just see my best friend from Brighton and actually just meet up with my friends properly and just
Yeah.
give everyone a big hug.
Oh,
Yeah, it'd be amazing as well to obviously see my dad 'cause I've not seen him at all since the pandemic as well. And
yeah,
it's harder as well, isn't it, when it's obviously those who are older or more vulnerable. So you obviously don't want to, you have to be responsible and distance and things. But I think I
yeah.
would just say for me, just be properly reunited with loved ones and just give them a big cuddle. Um,
It would be so
Travel,
nice for
yeah.
Christmas as well. I don't know if it's gonna happen by then, but how nice would that be by Christmas? So,
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
exactly. Yeah, we just don't know what's going to happen over the next few months. And I can't believe it's already September tomorrow,
I
it's
know.
just, I feel like we're still in April.
I
And
know
it's
this
just,
year has just completely flown by, which I don't know, you'd think it'd sort of be the opposite when you're stuck in quarantine, but it has actually gone really quick.
yeah, it has actually. I think for the first few months, it was kind of oh, I could feel every single day. And now it's blink of an eye and it's already another month and another month. And now summer's already over. So we're going back into autumn. It's really weird. But yeah, it's so strange that Christmas is only 3 months away.
I know. Are you gonna plan any Christmas shopping or anything?
Yeah, so I'm hoping to do, maybe this will be the year where I'll start Vlogmas and
Oh,
yeah, I've never done it before, but maybe to do a whole Christmas series on the
oh,
channel
that
and
would be so
go get a
cool.
Christmas tree. I do you remember old school vlogs where people would go and get a Christmas tree and
Yes.
decorations and it's oh, it's so festive. Yeah, so maybe this will be the first year I'll do it. It depends on what's
Yeah, it's
happening by
definitely
then.
my favorite time of the year. I just love being in your jumper, having hot
Yeah.
chocolate soup, and
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. Yeah,
lovely.
and Christmas music and Christmas films, Home
Yeah,
Alone,
oh,
oh,
classic.
yeah.
But yeah, I just hope, things are looking up um, and I hope you get to do the things you want to do because you really deserve it. And I'm just so thankful that you exist and you're putting out amazing content, and I just want to thank you for inspiring me as a small creator to be better, and thank you for taking the time today to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Oh my goodness, so welcome.
And I just hope everything goes well with you and you have a successful moving house. I know you're getting ready today. You've got to go and pack and stuff. So yeah, I just hope all that goes well for you. And thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Dan. No, I love being a part of the podcast. So thank you so much for even asking me to be a part of it.
Thank you. And I shall let you go now. And where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
So on YouTube, if you search Deja Shu, like DEJASHU, then you can find my YouTube. And then it's the same on Instagram, both an extra U at the end. Because
I love that name.
Company's got it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like a pun, because obviously I love my puns. So yeah, for videos and Instagram posts, you can find me on there.
Well, make sure you follow everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully we can do this again another time, maybe even in person next year, who knows?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, and I hope
thank you,
you have a lovely
Dan.
rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.